Resident Evil 8. Good game. Resident Evil Village. Resident Evil VII. I just like to say 8, it's easier. Yeah, wow. This really all started with 7, right? 7, Biohazard, VR, different, country, the Resident Evil remakes, 2, 3, soon 4, the movies that they have been making, the series that they've been doing. Resident Evil's been busy. You know, DLC's coming out. Next gen. Yeah, wow. Very, very active game, very active franchise brand. Which is good. I like to see it. I'm not really sure what they're doing right now, but I think this game kind of really goes to show that, like, whatever direction they're going in, I mean, well, the thing here is, like, what they're alternating between is 7, 8, and then the remakes. So it's really not a bad idea. I mean, you're getting this new, innovative, creative, experimental, whatever the hell they're doing, and you get the old classic zombie stuff. I mean, you get kind of the best of both worlds here. Not to mention they're all very new, they're all very recent and modern, so that just always helps right there. Yeah, they've been killing it. I'm not one to, like, glorify, you know, Capcom only doing Resident Evil stuff, basically. But hey, I like it, so I can't really complain. I love horror stuff, always have. Watching horror movies since I was a kid. I don't know, it's like Capcom has a lot of potential to do a lot of things if they really wanted to, but clearly they're focusing on the market of Resident Evil so much. And sure, it makes sense, like everyone likes scary games and zombies and blood, horror, survival, yada yada. But they could be doing so much more too. I mean, I don't know. Whatever other side things they have going on, like, I wouldn't even know about it, but I don't know. I think they're focusing too much on Resident Evil, if you ask me, because, like, dude, it's a game studio, man. They're supposed to make games, not just Resident Evil. Like, you see a lot of companies out there focusing on just certain games, which is great. It does well for them, sure, but, like, how much are they're trying to go for some Square Enix Final Fantasies thing, you know? Like, obviously Square Enix does other stuff. But what are they known for? Final Fantasy. What do they only really basically focus on to a point? Final Fantasy. That's what they're trying to do. Even Nintendo, they do Mario, Zelda, all kinds of stuff, right? Like, I know this is a Japanese thing. It doesn't take a lot for them to be very, you know, focused on some sort of thing or direction, or I don't know, whatever. But make some other stuff too, man. This is what I struggle with too, is like, it's like when you only play Destiny, for example, or you only focus on one game, you only start to really get known for one thing, which is great. But it bothers me when, like, you know, there's other things get left in the dirt and the dust and gets rusty, and if they put this type of energy into other stuff as well, the Resident Evil is such a narrow market. Like, yes, a lot of people like it, but not everyone likes it. Make other games that other people like too. They're depending so much on the Resident Evil thing itself that, like, does it do well enough for them? I mean, I would say so, sure, but you gotta think too, like, okay, they're coming out with very good games, sure. But what are they trying to accomplish? What's their goal here? To make millions and millions off of one game? One franchise? Their movies? I mean, dude. They're the type of people who clearly are looking at numbers only. They're not even... It's almost like Capcom had a heart, but they're selling out. Just Resident Evil. It just blows my mind. Make other games that other people like too. That's not really fair for them, man. Like, we've purchased these games. We've been a supporter, a fan. We've been a consumer. We've helped you get to where you are today because of these other games that you have made. Make more stuff. Continue to make Resident Evil, sure. Or here's the thing, like, if y'all are struggling so much, get more help. You know, there's Capcom USA as well. It's not just Capcom, right? Like, and that's where probably that's probably where this whole thing is a problem, is because of the fact that, like, you know, these Japanese games that are voiced in English, we get English versions and dubbed. These are video games, so that shouldn't really have much to really do with it. Yeah, you have to change around the text. Video games come in all kinds of different languages and countries. We're not talking anime here or something, right? So it's like, what the fuck, man? I don't know what the... I want to research it so bad, but it's so far off base that, like, is it even worth it, right? Because what am I gonna find? Resident Evil, Resident Evil, Resident Evil. Am I gonna find any information about any other games? Probably not. It's not even worth my time. Because clearly, researching shit only goes so far. What is that gonna do, right? Obviously, the only thing they're putting out is Resident Evil. I don't know. I have a lot of great things to say about this game, but it's just... You guys, come on. Where's Onimusha, man? I'm not asking for Mega Man. I know other people are. That's another thing. I think they're focusing more on Mega Man as well. Like I was trying to finish earlier, is like they look at the numbers, right? Like, oh, Onimusha doesn't do anything. This is one other game that they make. I'm not saying, hey, Capcom, focus on all your stuff. Give us some love. Give us some attention, man. I don't know. I get the whole adapting to the future and living in the now, thinking about tomorrow, all these things. And if Onimusha doesn't do that, fine. But here's my problem, is that Onimusha is Capcom. Resident Evil is Capcom. It's all linked. It's all together. It's all a web and chain of things that make us like your games, like your studio, like your country, your culture, all these things. It all kind of intertwines. So when you push Onimusha away from me, for example, it makes me like Resident Evil less. Okay? So if you gave us more Onimusha, and Onimusha is just my example, it's kind of the whole point, but I think it's a very important thing to bring up regardless. I think a lot of game studios... Look at Bethesda. Are they focusing just on Skyrim? No. They're doing ESO, they're doing Fallout, they're doing Fallout 76. Whatever, they're making a new game. Fine. At least they know how to spread out their energy and their money and whatever, right? It's like Capcom is only looking at Resident Evil. That's it. It's like nothing else exists. Like everything they've ever done is just in the trash. I don't know. It's a risky move because here they are trying to build off of this one audience when really they could be having multiple. You can either have a lot from one or a lot from multiple. Quantity, quality. As much as quality is probably the obvious answer here, quantity plays a very big part of it. There's no light without dark. There's no duality, balance. Where is it? It's all fucking aggressive. Whatever. It's just too easy. They're giving me something to bitch about. Some people are gonna be happy, some aren't, some are gonna be right in the middle, whatever. But I'd love to sit here right now talking about Resident Evil 8 and just being totally cool with it. Like, hey, no problem. I'm not thinking about all this other stuff in the background, right? Behind the scenes. How can I not? It all goes together. It's a part of the puzzle. Resident Evil is just a piece of the puzzle. Granted, it's a corner piece. It's a very definitive piece to complete the puzzle. Where do you start with puzzles when you make them? The corners. But here's the whole middle part. It's just gone. Whatever. Yeah, the cutscenes are cool though.
You, me, Rose. Now, everything's gonna
Seriously? Think we can just forget about what happened in Louisiana?
It happened so long ago. I don't understand why you are so...
Very, very smooth, looks really good. Looks way better than 7. I know this game was tailored towards next gen. One of the first next gen games to actually come out. Which is a big deal. They've really graphically improved a lot of their games very, very slowly throughout their lifetime. It's very noticeable. Which is great. I think the remakes have their own. Granted, these, like 7 and 8 for example, especially 8, I think the graphical quality is very much the same, right? The RE engine, whatever. But the remakes are kind of like its own weird, uncanny thing. But I think 7 and 8 are honestly way better games because they, there's even a next gen version of 7 as well. Because they're just more tailored to be the most recent thing and to be the latest and greatest and all these things. Remakes are just zombies, dude. Literally, they're undead things coming back to life. And now they're this whole different thing. Yeah, I don't know. As great as 2 and 3 is, to go off of, dude, 7 and 8 are really good. I think they're better. I just think, like, hey, yeah, you don't have Leon and all that, right? But you have Ethan, you have something different, unique, special. I think that alone really gives itself just enough credit to kind of overlap the remakes. They don't need to really be compared, but that's kind of what they're working on. It's all they're doing, really, as far as I'm aware. So, I mean, that's the thing. If I'm gonna fuck around or not waste, but utilize my time properly playing a Capcom game, if it's not Onimusha, it's gonna be Resident Evil 7 and 8. Granted, they're two very different things. They tip the scale so much. There's Ethan, all this other stuff, werewolves, blah blah blah. Texas Chainsaw crap, dude. And then there's just the classic zombie virus, T-virus, you got it, whatever. So yeah, I love... Resident Evil is just fun to compare. You can have debates with people all day. It's crazy. I was gonna say it's great, but I don't know if it's great. It's more crazy. Yeah, they've just done so much throughout their lifetime that it's so easy to just constantly compare and put something and something head to head so easily. I don't know if that's what they're trying to do or what, but I mean, I'm down. Whatever. Yeah, this is cool. It's very much its own thing, its own story, continuation of 7, more or less of the same stuff, a lot of twists and turns, action. These are horror action games now, but it's funny, even playing 2 and 3, which are considered classics, I wouldn't say as much as 0 and 1, I guess, sure, but like, yeah, you can definitely tell. 2 is debatable, but you can tell with 2 and 3 they were slowly starting to become action horror, very, very slowly. That's one thing that's funny about people giving 4, 5, and 6 shit, because it's like, dude, they were heading in that direction a long time ago, very early on. Like, hello, wake up, use your mind, use your head. Shit, don't even get me started with all the spin-offs. That's just like pure action horror. I'm not even sure if the horror element really fits in there or not. Yes, there's monsters and creatures and zombies, kind of. Infected people. I don't know. If it wasn't for that alone, dude, it's action. Completely. Yeah, this was fun. Took me a while to get to it, unfortunately. But when I did, it was exciting, it was worth it, I was pumped, stoked. Because I think how much I've consumed Resident Evil, this is what I wanted, this is what I was ready for. I didn't know what they were doing and why. I didn't really care about it. I just wanted it. I was like, hey, you know what? you guys don't fuck around. You go for it. You guys are like, hey, we don't give a shit. We're gonna just throw all this crap at you and you're gonna be happy. And I'm like, great. Fine. I'll participate and, you know, try it out, right? How can you not? There's so much here that how can you resist it? It's like they're giving you everything. What more do you want? I don't know. I think when this came out, what it was, I think it worked out pretty damn great. And I'm not sure if this is because they're using the remakes as kind of a crutch, like, hey, I know like 7 and 8, especially 7, like after 7, that's when I started to be like more accepting of Ethan and all that, but they are using the remakes as a crutch because not everyone receives 7 and 8 very well because it's so fucking weird and different. In a good way, yes, but in the small, like 1% way, it's kind of bad. And there is that. I won't like ignore that, but that is a thing. But it's Resident Evil. That's like, it's not called Resident Zombies. I've had this discussion with someone before where it's where evil resides. It doesn't matter what shape it takes. You know, evil comes in all forms, and that's the thing. If this is what we're dealing with here and now today, you know, whatever the hell's even going on in this game exactly, that's just how it is. The sooner you sit back and accept that, the better, and the sooner we can all move on. It's really that easy. So that's kind of the mindset I had going in. And the game's obviously built such a fandom by this point that, like, you know, are people, even if they do complain and are vocal about whatever it is that they're doing, I can't even put Resident Evil into words anymore. I don't even know what the hell's going on. But yeah, whether people complain or not, you still can't help the fact that it's a AAA quality game, Capcom, Japan, Japanese. More or less of the same old stuff we've all been used to. Yes, different characters, different settings, different enemies, but you know what? Guns, reloading, UI, inventory management, heals, healing, herbs, medicine, bullets, ammo, weapons, it's just all, it's the same shit. You know, the third person, well, first person, I guess, either way. Puzzles, it's all still there. So exploration, backtracking, maps, key items, I mean, breaking boxes. Your knife, like, it's all still very much Resident Evil. So yeah, the gameplay is pretty good. My issue with the gameplay with the remakes, kind of 7, but not really, actually. I think especially 2, 3, and 8, honestly. The gunplay is so light and fluttery. It's so... you can barely feel the impact. Like, yeah, it's gushy, there's some weight to it, there's some feedback, but it feels so light. And I guess I turn the effects down quite a bit because, like, explosions, gunfire, it usually is loud, but here it's so, I don't know, it feels like you're shooting a freaking BB gun half the damn time. I'm like, is this gun even doing any damage? Or, like, you're thinking accuracy, you're thinking, I don't know, like, these guns just feel weak. When you're reloading, it doesn't feel heavy and tactical. You're using cheap pieces of shit, little crappy put together cheap dollar store guns, or like, dude, I don't know. I think the gameplay's gotten weak. I think they focus so much on the environment and so many other things except the gunplay. Like, at least in 7 it felt like, and this is important because it's like what carries you through the game. I think in 7 at least there was still somewhat of like a, hey, I'm really knowing that I'm hitting these guys and that it's working and I'm doing damage and I can feel it and all these things. And sure, there's vibration and haptic feedback and all that to consider, but that's not even really necessarily the problem. I don't know if it's just a very light thing, but you're thinking sound design as well. It all kind of mixes in a way where it doesn't really feel good. I think they kind of leaned away from the gunplay, which used to be really fun, I would say, in all the games. But I think here it's lacking a lot because they've put all the resources into so many other things, which really doesn't make sense to me. And even when you're moving around, it feels very light. Character feels a little floaty. I mean, it's done in a way where it works just fine, sure, but it's very easy to notice, like, it's just a very feathery kind of mobility, gunplay. I don't know, it's almost like you're not even there, really. You're just kind of aimlessly walking around like a zombie with these crappy guns, dude, just shooting at shit. It's, I don't know. I'm not really complaining because I enjoy everything else they do better. But that's just a weird thing to even have to come to mind, is like that, right? Because that should be like the most important thing, if anything, is just care about your gunplay. I don't know, Feels like you're firing a pea shooter, dude, a pellet gun. And for someone who's used firearms for sport in real life, you know, I have somewhat of an idea of how I expect the gunplay to kind of be. Which is an important thing to kind of consider here, but I realize, like, hey, it's a game, dude. Just, you know, you're doing all kinds of other stuff. But the other stuff is the distractions. Don't distract me from what I'm doing the most of, which is the combat, the core gameplay, the gunplay. Okay, sure, this is not an FPS. Well, technically it is, which makes it even weirder, honestly. This isn't Call of Duty, or this isn't Battlefield. Battlefield doesn't even have the greatest gunplay. Call of Duty, Destiny. It's way better there, but sure, that's their thing. But they can still work on the gunplay and still do all this other stuff too. That's what I don't understand here, is like they focus so much elsewhere and not really here, like the gunplay. God, it's like the more reasons I keep finding to like dislike this game as much as I like it, what else they're doing behind it's all just a giant freaking weird reversed upside down mess. Capcom, are you guys good over there? What are you doing? Are you okay? Do you need me to come down and visit you and give you some like consulting, or do you need help, or what's the deal? God, dude, I don't know. And I will only give Capcom this much shit about stuff like this too, because it's like, you know what? I don't mess around with Final Fantasy. But honestly, I'd have probably a lot more faith in a company like that because of the fact that they know what they're doing, why, when, where. You know, they're really level-headed. I think Capcom is like going down this weird path, this rabbit hole spiral, odd fork. It's like they're stuck in a forest, a misty forest, and they keep going down the same path over and over, when clearly you go down this path, you wind up right back to where you were. Try the other path. Go that way. You might actually get out of wherever the hell you're stuck at. This story thing at the beginning of the game, I don't know, dude. I'm sure they have their reasons, and I'd love to hear them too. You know, why Resident Evil 7? Why the remakes? Why 8? Why, in fact, everything? 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 0. The spin-offs, the movies, the series, the CGI animations. What's the agenda here? I'd love to know. I'm dying to know. Granted, I'm sure you do the research, right? You'll find all that out, no problem, but I don't know. It's just, something's not right. Like, I don't know why they keep doing what they do, but this is the world we live in, and we don't really have much of a choice other than to accept the fact of whatever it is that's happening around us. And, you know, we could send emails and speak up and tweet and all these things. I don't really know where that stuff goes. Write letters, emails. Yeah, I already said oh well, you know, life's busy, life's hectic, it's chaotic. You know, we have so many other things to worry about than playing games, and I get that, and they know that too, I think. And you know, truthfully, we just use these games for a distraction, to be entertained for a short, nice little ride. And it doesn't have to be this super thought out thing every single time. But I'm kind of tired of playing games that I don't really enjoy as much as I feel like I could be. And I'm getting kind of frustrated because it just feels like it's kind of one game after another. I don't know if that's just me or whatever kind of thing we're doing with games right now, next gen. It's all very just, you know, I guess this is kind of the new generation. You can argue that 2020 up until about 2030, this is probably how games are gonna be. This every century, it's, or a decade. Yeah, I think it's a decade. I guess we've always kind of been stuck in these kind of files of categories of games. And I guess this is just what we have. Fine. Whatever. Thankfully, we have access to older games. There's always that. Honestly, as much as I give older games shit, I'm not far off from just playing older games again, cause like, or new older games or something, cause I don't know, man, these new games, I really try to give them the benefit of the doubt, and to be honest, and the more that I talk about these and think about them and play them and all these, just whatever, I keep listening and hearing the things that I have to say, and I'm like, Jesus, man. You know, you don't really notice that pattern maybe for the longest time until it actually hits you like, holy shit. What are we doing? Why? Whatever. But yeah,